Arvoyarns.
Yeah, my wife, Michele, she doesn't like any show that is serial in nature, anything that continues. She loves Law and Order shows that
She's one of those.
She's one of those.
Which one?
Yeah.
SVU?
She doesn't discriminate. I think she likes
Really?
most of the Law and Order. I think she celebrates the entire portfolio.
They're not all equal though.
Yeah, but just that style of show.
Wait,
It's
does
not
she
so
know
much
about stuff like
just
Midsummer Murders? Because something about detective shows, they're very self-contained. It's like we're current characters, but
yeah.
arc.
That's the thing. She likes self-contained shows. Single episode. She doesn't want to commit to. She doesn't want to be emotionally attached to characters over the course of a season. So something like The Wire, when I wanted to watch it, it wasn't like a joint effort. It wasn't like, oh, let's watch The Wire tonight. It had to be either like me throwing it on when at the time she used to travel for the work that she did, and it had to be either while she was away or after she went to bed. But there were times that I would just put it on, and she would always enjoy it, and she would always kind of get absorbed into it. But that's one of the only shows for me personally that I watched the entire the entire series, all 5 seasons, and really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, it's such a great show because I don't know if there's any other show that does like season by season, engage in that kind of almost like institutional critique.
Each season had a theme.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The docs or whatever, the media.
The docs was my favorite. Season 2.
I agree. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It was literally about docs and the commerce around docs and
it was
criminal.
Yeah. It explored how how drugs were coming in via ports, and it went pretty deep into that element.
Dude, I'm not gonna give away names here, but my buddy is in the Coast Guard, and he does a lot of boardings, because he's actually in the Special Forces wing.
You mean sort of random checks?
Well, it's
of
not
what's going on.
Well, so there's the random ones and then there's the tip ones. But I'm like, there's so much cargo you guys are bringing in. How often do you think drugs are coming through? And he's like, oh, every day. I mean, how could it not be every single day? There's only 365 days in a year. There's so much cargo. It's impossible to check it all. It's impossible to check even most of it.
I don't know what the percentage is at U.S. ports, but I remember being in Dubai for the work that I do years ago.
That's baller.
And you mentioned that I'm co-owner with Michele of a composting business, but I've been working for 18 years. We've only had that business for the last 4 or 5 years, and Michele works full time for that business. I work full time elsewhere. And and the industry that I work in revolves around scrap textile materials. So I was in Dubai for a trade show related to textile materials, and speaking with someone there. I happened to end up speaking with someone who worked at the port in Jebel Ali, which at the time was the second busiest port in the world, and he said that they check, and this is Dubai. It's not. I don't know what the percentage is at U.S. ports, but it was less than 1% of the containers that flow through the port are actually checked. I mean, there's just such a massive number of containers going through the world's busiest ports that it's borderline impossible, if not entirely impossible, to check any sort of large percentage of it.
I remember getting educated on this in a roundabout way. For a company I worked for, that part of their employee training was explaining, hey, so these type of companies you can or can't work with, and this is why, from a legal basis of oh, this company has sanctions against it, so we can't work with them, and many other circumstances. But they were saying, as far as ports are concerned, which doesn't actually come into play at all because we sell software, but they explained the port juxtaposition of how they mostly find out, because if it's 1% or less than 1%, how the fuck do you choose the 1%? And they said that it's primarily based on logs of all the places the ship has been, because if it goes to a sketchy country that's red flagged for whatever reason, like Somalia or something, they'll be like, oh, well, we need to check it when it comes into port.
I think,
then-
your Somalian viewers may take issue with you referring to Somalia as a sketchy country.
I don't think it's a sketchy country necessarily, but it is red flagged in a lot of these port systems.
Fair enough.
Or like, for instance, the holding company or wherever the company is based, the HQ is, like, certain companies HQ'd in certain places will, like, always get checked just because that country
Sure.
is known for certain types of activity.
Yeah, that particular country's on a list, or for some other reason that container or that chip is on the list. Sure.
What? Yeah. Well.
Arvoyarns.